From Nutley, New Jersey Police Department. He's with me. So, Lieutenant, and let's take another look inside that van. And as we walk through, you know, you've driven.
I haven't driven it, but I've been in transports like that, and the officer explained it well. But you brought up a good point, Brooke. If there was a camera in there, we would not be here today discussing this. And one of the objectives of a transport is to make sure that not only is the prisoner secure, but the prisoner is safe. We don't know what went on in there. We don't know if the seatbelts were fastened. We don't know if at some point in time the driver of the van had to stop short and the fellow fell and got hurt. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and the only people who are going to be able to answer them are the driver and the other officer.
And I'm wondering too, because when you look at the TikTok, when you look at the timeline from that morning, you have Freddie Gray was taken into custody 8:40 a.m., 8:42 requested prisoner transportation wagon that arrives. They actually then at another point a prisoner was placed, right. Or I shouldn't say prisoner, a suspect was placed inside the van, and so that's why I was asking him, because I'm wondering if that other suspect, even if he was on the other side of the partition, could be a witness.
That's a great question. And I know that the officers did say they're handcuffed and they're almost, very secure. But I've arrested prisoners and we've put them in police cars where somehow they wiggle their ways out, you see? So it's good that they have a petition. But yes, that other prisoner could have possibly heard something.
Okay, that's one question I have. The second question is, we also saw in some of this recent video that after they were in the prisoner transport van, they stopped because they placed leg restraints on Freddie Gray. Here you see him, so he's being dragged.
Right.
I can't quite tell if he's able to stand whatsoever or not. They place him in the back of the van, and then sometime later, they stop and place these leg restraints. Let me ask you, as I asked an officer at the top of the show, why would you place leg restraints on someone?
Well, you would place leg restraints on them if they were out of control, if they were moving around in the van. Now, if you notice, he's being placed face down, kind of pushed into the van, okay? The fellow should have been taken to the hospital, immediately, but that's another issue that's going to have to be investigated. But he's being placed down in the van. Is he rolling around the van? Is he trying to get up?
Hang on, so you're making an interesting point. So are there cases in which you would not sit a suspect up, arms behind and strapped in? Would you ever place someone face down in the van? And I ask that because depending on how the van is driven could further exacerbate an injury.
Would you make a great detective? You're absolutely right, Brooke. Here's a guy that probably is in a lot of pain because of the injuries. You can't sit him down because of the pain. So you have him, prostrate on the ground, and you're going to make him as secure as you could. And how are you going to do that? The leg restraints. That is possibly what happened. The police officers need to come forward and say, look, this is what happened. No malice intent. We did the best we could with the tools we had, but they've got to actually tell us what happened.
So there would be officers in the front of the van, and we saw the holes, for lack of a better term, right, from where the driving position to the back. They obviously would have seen and heard what was happening, so they then would know what he was doing and why he needed the leg restraint.
Brooke, if he's rolling around, and look, we're only making assumptions based on just the little information we have, but if he's prostrate on that floor, they're making turns, he's rolling around back and forth, and if he had an injury prior to that, that was only exasperating the injury. So you get the leg restraints because that's all you have left to secure him. And that's what they tried to do.
And that's what the family wants to know, what happened while Freddie Gray was in police custody. Lieutenant Stephen Rogers.
It goes back to training.
That's what everybody keeps bringing up.
It goes back to training.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Next here.